Yeah, because I
So
wanted to.
so you're saying that you just automatically assume that this technology recorded, but you didn't hit record.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't hit record.
Yikes. That's a
Cause
that's a rookie move.
it is.
Mm.
Okay, I'm on record only. I thought we were live. I was like, nah, don't be
Oh boy.
live.
This is type of like inspiration and magic that you get organically. It cannot be recreated. I want you to know that. I want you to truly know that. Okay? And at this point, I'm not feeling it anymore.
Okay, so
But in all seriousness, like
no. All right, back to the question. Yes,
back to the
got
question.
it.
How do you feel as an alumni? What college you go to?
Bowie State
I'm playing
University.
with your ass. As a Bowie State alumni,
Hmm.
how do you feel about the current state of HBCUs? Like I was saying, I know that you are keeping watch. You're looking on social media. You're kind of feeling the pulse and the waves that are out there as far
Hmm.
as what's going on, not at just Bowie State, but at other HBCUs in general. You know, like you're seeing this
Hmm.
headlines of different schools doing things athletically. You know, just yeah, on an athletic like scale, but
Hmm.
also you're seeing things happening with the student body as far as protesting and things like that.
Hmm.
So in your research as far as like what's been going on with HBCUs, how do you feel? What are some problems that you see out there? What are things that we do well? And I mean, just talk about anything really.
I okay. So the great thing about HBCUs that I am kind of love, right? So my thing is the first thing about the HBCU is the culture, right? It's when you go there, you got homecoming. People love homecomings. Then you got really it's the times that aren't during homecoming that you're on campus that it really
Mm-hmm.
gets alive, like Spring Fest, and you know what I'm saying? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
homecoming, it's everybody, but when you live on campus, it's just like you and your friends living in the college moment.
Right.
Um, and I love it. The great thing about the state of HBCUs right now is because of social media and because what we're doing here and because we have the technology to have podcasts, to have YouTube, HBCUs are getting a lot of shine and a lot of recognition. Now, I think it could get more, but I think people are starting to pay attention to them. You got, especially with football, you got coaches like Hugh Jackson. I know Dion left, but Dion was there. He put something in the school. You have my man J.R. Smith playing golf at North Carolina
I really want
A&T.
to watch that
Yeah,
series that they have on him. I really need to
it's on
watch that.
Amazon, right?
Yeah, yep, it's on
We'll
Amazon
watch
Prime.
it.
I really want to watch that.
Might watch it tomorrow.
It's on
Um,
my list for the weekend. I
yeah,
like
like
JR.
yeah, he's chilling and he loves it. He loves it on
You
campus.
could
I know
tell
he
just from the
loves it.
trailer, you could tell he's just like really doing him and enjoying like
Yeah,
that atmosphere and just like reaching a goal that you could tell he had. You know what I'm saying? So I do appreciate that.
and I feel like okay, so we know this because on HBC, right? We're on HBCU campus. If he goes there, right, they're probably not treating him like a superstar. They're probably like, "Oh, that's Jr. He cools them up," because that's how just how HBCUs are. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, "Oh, we accept you. You one of us." Now, we're not saying if LeBron went to H, you know what I'm saying, but
It's a shutdown every time.
yeah,
And
it's
I
shut
still
down.
think though that
You know
like
what I'm saying?
It's J.R. Smith, bro. He
Chris
won a
Paul went to
ring.
HBCU. He won a ring. People know who he is, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's you know how HBCUs are. We be chilling. You're not like you'll get the recognition day one. It's gonna be like, oh, that's just Jr. Shit. You know what I'm saying? I got classes with Jr. Smith. He cool. That's
Yeah.
it because everybody's in a you know what I'm saying. Everybody's in a moment. Like it's kind of like I'll give it a comparison, right? It's kind of like Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City or Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, where people know who you are, but because they appreciate you, they're not going to be all like, oh, let me get autograph. It's I feel like that's the same with the HBCU. I feel like they appreciate them so much at A&T. They
They're not
like,
getting
yo,
autographs out there. Nobody's bombarding
I
Patrick
mean,
Mahomes
I
boy
mean,
for autograph. You got
nah,
me fucked up. How do you know that?
nah.
What report did you see?
Well, if they don't do it, here's my comparison. If they don't really do it with Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, they probably don't because it's Midwestern. It's not like LA. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
They
but
they
that's
kind of
Patty Mahomes though. Like that's he
man.
on
I think
another
I
level.
think
This nigga
I think
basically $1 billion contract for like it's
yeah,
a
but
little different.
I think that it's different. Like from New York and LA and North Carolina because they appreciate and they don't want to be like I don't want him to transfer and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just think. I think they appreciate him being in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you don't want to wake up every day and sign autographs.
Well,
That's
that's
getting
just the
annoying.
reality of being a celebrity. And I understand your
It
thinking, but I
is.
don't think everybody
Yeah.
comes out like that. If you see Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, you're going to take that opportunity because you don't know if you're going to see him again. I need that autograph, sir. I need
No,
that
Joe
picture
Burrow said people
real
be
quick.
leaving him alone when he's out with his family. He
Man, he's
said
in
it.
Cincinnati, though, bro. He's in Cincinnati, though.
That
That's
nigga want
Ohio.
chicken.
You know, I ain't got
He
shit out
wanted.
there.
That's what I'm saying.
But I
That's what
just
I'm
feel like
saying. North
Patrick
Carolina
Mahomes is
A&T
different.
ain't
So
nothing
what you
around.
saying? Like HBCUs ain't got shit out there or something like that? What are you talking about, JT? What type of
Somebody
comparison are
Bowie
you
don't
giving?
have nothing around Bowie. Some HBCUs are is listen. Howard is different, Rose. Some HBCUs in the country, man. You gotta drive. You gotta drive
You
30
said you gotta
minutes to a
drive.
restaurant. you know what I'm saying?
Are
Like,
you just eating on campus?
yeah, it's not
Oh
like it's
man.
not like Clark. Like Clark,
Okay.
Spellman, they're in the city. Morris Brown, they got their own quads. They're in Atlanta. But like Bowie is far. You know what I'm saying? Like, not in Baltimore. Most times, more than that's in the city. Howard's in the city, but
Mhm.
some
Mhm.
schools be country, man. You go out there and be like, damn,
Right.
this
Okay.
joint is country. Um,
So what were some pros and cons? Like what is your top pro and your top con for like not just you attending HBCU, but there's the current state of HBCUs. Like what are some things you're like, man, we're killing it in this regards, but what are some things like this is something that's kind of concerning or something we need to address, you know, and something things that we need to work on as far as just like from all HBCUs in general.
I think that we're killing the social media game right now. I think that people are recording the fried chicken night. They did a uh, like a Harry Potter. If Harry Potter was at HBCUs, that joint was lit and went viral. I think right now it's in a good space and it's
I
only
gotta
going to
check that
grow.
out. That sounds funny as
That
hell.
joint is crazy.
You said if Harry Potter went to a HBCU.
Yeah, and they did
Okay.
all the different houses.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I gotta check that out. That's fire. That sound fire.
Yeah, it went viral, and then I just think the state is really good right now. The only thing I don't like is two things. We need because we are. I think we're HBCUs are going like this and getting more exposure, right? I think that it needs more. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Mhm.
good to have it,
Mhm.
but we need more exposure. And then I think some HBCUs, it's two ways. I think the endowment could be better from our side,
Mhm.
but the organization of the fund should be better on their side.
Okay.
Because you hear a lot like Bethune Cookman. There's a protest because some of the buildings just have trash in it. That's unacceptable. But we don't know where where the
Boy.
funds are going. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Unfortunately, Bowie State is in a good space right now because they're building.
That's
Um,
good. So I will say this, right? Exposure. You mentioned exposure. You're getting, it's a good thing, but is it a good thing for the exposure because with the good it exposes the bad as well? Or it exposes the things like we need to work on, like buildings not pretty or being, uh in not good conditions.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got trash. You just said trash and in the buildings and things like that. You had students protesting at Howard because of the conditions and situations like that. So is that exposure? Do you think that's good as well?
It
Is
has
that
to be
something we
good.
need?
It has to be good because if here's the thing about social media, right? People love it, but there's a good and bad. There's a good and bad
I'm
to
just
every
playing
side of
devil.
life.
I'm just playing devil's advocate, right?
You have to because that's how it is. If it's good, there's always bad. Now, the exposure, I think, is good because we wouldn't have saw everybody protest. Those protests on campus could have happened 10 years ago. We don't hear about it. Now we're hearing about it and it sheds light on, well, this isn't the issue. School, this is bad publicity. So that's one thing the protests do, the exposure does.
Do you think
Is
that will outshine any of the good or any of the interest that the programs in Howard say going to you know the NCAA tournament for the first time in over like basically 3 decades? Like, do you think that outshadows that? Now, if I'm a prospective student, I'm like, man, this looks like a nice place to be. It's fun, and then you hear stories of
mm,
man, we haven't had clean water or clean facilities. We don't have no AC. They're feeding us garbage. We don't have this or that. Now, as a student, do you think that that would sway you from like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go here because their facilities are trash?
okay. Um,
That's what I mean by the double.
it
I'm trying to
is. It
just I'm trying
is.
to give both sides.
It is. I like that. Well, here's the caveat, right? So if you're thinking about Bethune Cookman, and that's right, they have trash in the buildings, the facilities aren't good, right? Same with
There's a lot
Jackson
of
State.
universities.
It's a lot, right? Here's the thing. The good thing is Howard not only went to the tournament, they also won in massive competitions across the board in all sports. So
Hmm.
that tells you something that they're doing good, and that's the good. You know what I'm saying? That's the good. Like Howard won in man, I don't know. It's gotta be. I saw a clip. It's gotta be 7 or 8 areas they won in. I think they won in track,
Yeah, we're doing well.
swimming,
Swimming, volleyball, like we're killing it.
volleyball, gymnastics,
Um,
basketball. So
So I just yeah.
that's
So
the
you
that's the
think that
good.
the good exposure outweighs the bad
Yeah,
ultimately? Because my
yeah.
thing is this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before, when we were going to school or applying to go to colleges, right? There
Mm-hmm.
wasn't social media. So all I heard throughout my high school experience was,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh my god, the illustrious Howard University." And it just had this air to it. You know, when I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to my like just teachers about it, not
Mm-hmm.
professors, teachers, and I was telling them my options. Like I got accepted into Baylor into their medical program for pre-med, right? And then I said I got accepted into Howard, and like their eyes lit up like, oh my god, you're going to Howard, right? And it was just this thing around it, this whole aura, right? But when I got to the campus, some things didn't match up as far because I toured Baylor University, and
I heard
super
Baylor
pristine
has a nice
campus,
campus. I heard the campus
just
is nice.
really good. So that set the standard. So I'm thinking this is what, and I went to UT Austin, and that was for speech and debate, right? And I've
Mm-hmm.
been to other college campuses, Ohio State, whatever, whatever. So,
Mm-hmm.
but they were all PWIs. So
Mm-hmm.
when I went to Howard, I never toured the campus. I just went there, and like this is it. I'm settled in, and I was shocked. I was shocked at don't laugh. I was
Oh,
shocked and underwhelmed at these facilities. I had a mouse crawl on me my freshman year, woke me up out of my sleep to scratches
that's
of a fucking
crazy.
rodent, dude. Like I can't make this up. No AC in the summertime. Mind you, we're moving in August. It's muggy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom was just like, "Whoa, they got to be turning on the AC." Come to find out, there is no central AC.
Mm,
You have to rent an AC unit.
that's crazy.
I mean,
That's
it's
wild.
2005.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
cell phones at this point.
Yeah.
Central AC's been out. So it's little things like that. Now I say that to say this, right? I had to deal with issues from the A building.
Mm-hmm.
Rude as fuck. They weren't inviting, they weren't helpful, didn't really care about your matriculation, just reminded you that this was a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
But all that I went through, the stresses of the A building not helping,
Mm-hmm.
the blighted buildings and everything just being outdated and torn down, I still would go to Howard over Baylor, right? And it's only after I really committed and went there and then went through that, I'm like, damn, this shit sucks. But those things don't outweigh the benefits that I received from
Mm-hmm.
going to an HBCU,
Like
right?
Drake at the
But what if
homecoming.
you don't even take the chance
Mm-hmm.
because of what you're seeing just on social media, if that
Yeah.
makes sense? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
it's
can,
a good
yeah.
and a bad thing, I
Yeah.
think.
I totally agree. Like with Bowie, I went there for the summer program, and I was in a science, engineering, and mathematics (SEM), right?
Nice. Okay.
So, I got to take classes before, and I'm not gonna lie, I was like, man, these buildings are old.
Old as
They're
fuck. Like, what's
old.
happening?
They're really old. And
1867 old.
yeah, and it's like the dorm I stayed in is old. Um, it was the plumbing was wild. It was off the chain.
Oh
I
my
tell people this all
god.
the time. They be like, "Oh,
Oh my gosh.
you use the public bathroom?" I was like, "Oh, what's a HBCU?" Like the bathrooms there were out of control in the
Mm,
freshman dorm and my sophomore
mm.
dorm. It was
Awful.
out of control, man.
Awful.
It was like, come on, guys, we're adults here. We're adults, okay?
Mm,
Can't leave the bathroom like this. You don't do this at your parents' house. You know what I'm saying? Like this is
right.
wild. You know what I'm
It,
saying?
yeah, I
And
can only imagine for the dudes. Yeah.
yeah, it used to be like, boom, come on, man. This is the best
Oh
fucking.
god.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it was just like, man, the football field when I first got there, because I got there in 2000. It was
Mm-hmm.
it was crazy. Now the football team practices on. They have a nice practice field. But when I got there, their practice field was wild. Like it had divots, holes, and baseball team would be on there. And, they use different cleats than the football players. Football
Right.
players
Right.
used to be like, man, that practice field is stupid.
About to
Like
trip
that
up and
joint,
really twist an
yeah,
ankle up in that hole. Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay.
it was just
Well,
certain things. But when you get in there after your freshman year, you just like, man, I'm here.
it becomes the norm, right? And I will say
I'm here.
this, it really lets you know, like, that old adage is, oh, it's not the place, it's the people type of situation,
Hmm.
right? And I think that's what HBCU gives, right?
Yeah,
So when I was doing my thought process, doing a little bit of research, like, man, like, how do I feel about HBCUs? What's actually
yeah,
going on with HBCUs? What are some of the things that I deem as, like, I wish it had this, and I want this for not just my alma mater, but just HBCUs in general. Obviously, I'm invested in Howard because, I mean, it holds so many dear memories, and that's where I went. But just in general, and what I feel like is, I feel torn, right? I read an article, and there was like this big debate of people, I guess, making people who chose to go to a PWI bad, like, oh, you're a sellout. I said, oh,
wait, what?
I never felt that, but I guess that was a sentiment
No,
for whoever wrote this article. And I'm just like,
wow.
I
I
don't, I
I
don't think, I don't think you're a sellout
no,
for going to a PWI, because there
no,
are things that HBCUs are lacking, like
no.
the facilities, right? And if you can get past the facilities,
The
there's a
program.
chance, the programs, because we're so underfunded. What if the
Hmm.
major that you're seeking to major in, because that's your career path, we don't offer
Hmm.
it? So now what?
Yep.
And you can only afford to stay in state because you don't have a lot of money, right?
Hmm.
So you're gonna have to go to a non HBCU school.
Yeah, and I don't. And on top of that, the HBCUs aren't cheap. And here's the thing.
They're not cheap.
I wouldn't call somebody a
Not
sub.
cheap.
I would call somebody a sub. I think
That's a little extreme, right?
that's a
That's a
little.
little.
That's, I
Yo,
know
people
some
be
good.
wilding.
I know some
Yo,
cool guys that went to
yeah,
PWI and regret it.
yeah.
But here's the thing. The thing about HBCU is that I told my nephew earlier, you have to go, is because of the culture, and you actually, in the most important time frame in your life, 18 to 25, you get to be around people who
Mm-hmm.
are educated. You're going to develop friends for life, and boom, it's going to shape who you are. Now, when you go to PWI, sometimes it's you really can't be yourself. Like I went to law school, Baltimore University School of Law, and I couldn't really be how I couldn't be James because
Yeah.
you know there wasn't that many black people there. You know, you could kind of feel in the air. Where as an HBCU, in the most important time frame in your life, you're around people who are, to be honest, they have the same mindset, and the culture is you learn so much about your history at HBCU, so much,
Yeah.
and it's a I think it's a vital time from 18 to 23 or 24. I think
Yeah.
that's a vital time in life,
And
and
don't
I
get me
you
wrong,
know
you'll definitely meet people who are so much more vastly different than you are,
hmm
but the overarching like principle is higher learning. They value higher learning. It's a black person that values higher learning,
learning, yeah,
education, and
yes,
wanting to know about themselves. That's it.
yeah,
Everything else vastly different. You
'cause
understand? But
yeah,
I went to, school in A Leaf, and it kind of made me it kind of made me not want to be around black people. I'm not gonna lie to you, because it was a lot. Like there were black people there that I just loved, got along with, but like in general, it was a lot of just reckless behavior,
debauchery,
disruption,
debauchery.
debauchery, and it's just like, man, like if this is the representation, because I've never went to, like, I never grew up in a nice neighborhood, so this was my, you know my mindset, like my view or my perception of how black people acted in general, just for my environment. And I'm like, well,
Why
this
would
is a
I go
lot
to
for
a
me.
why would I
I'm a
go to
nerd.
a
I'm a
college?
geek. I'm reading Harry Potter. I'm in the orchestra. I don't
Yeah,
do anything, and I go home. Like I can't take this
yeah,
energy. It's just not for me. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
So then I go to a HBCU, and I'm just like, whoa.
Nobody judge you because you're reading
Everybody cares about
uh
their grades.
you know what I'm saying? Like I go to
Mm-hmm.
HBCU, and in high school I tell people this all the time. It's so funny, like people like, oh man, high school is crazy. It's like, listen, I wasn't cool in high school. I got bullied. I just smoked. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I smoked a lot. That's what
It's
I was known for. And
legal
I
in
wasn't,
most
and I was,
places.
yeah, and I was, get
Yeah.
over it, guys. People do it, right? So, especially young people. And then when I went to college, I just was who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, oh, people are cool with it. Like, I remember one day, my dad is a nerd, man. So I had a computer in my room, and I'm a nerd as well. So I like games. I don't play games anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore.
That's sad.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
maybe I'll buy a PlayStation, and Xbox, but I don't
Ain't
know.
got time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I'd rather like sleep.
I feel
I,
you, bro. That shit is
watch a movie
necessary.
or
Hot
something, man.
commodity, I swear.
Yeah, man. So like I was reading. So I had my computer, and then I would have like The Sims on that joint,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd be playing it. People are like, "What is that?" I'm like, "It's The Sims." They playing. I'm playing Age of Empires one day, right? Like, but yo, this is just me. You know what I'm saying? Like one day, I'll never forget this. My man Gino, right? Me and my man Pete, we smoked. Okay, guys, I smoked in college a lot. So we
I mean,
smoked,
who didn't? That's not
and then
that's what everybody did. That's pretty
yeah,
common.
like 80%. So then, um, me and Pete, it's a small ass room. So we like, all right, man, we out. Boom, I'm going to sleep. I look at Gino. I'm like, he'll be all right. Because in college, my freshman year, the second half of my freshman year, I left my door open because everybody was always in there all the time, and it was me and Pete, so we were cool. So I would just leave my door unlocked. It was
Fuck that.
nah. That day was cool.
Mm-mm.
Nobody took nothing from me. They wouldn't dare.
Do that shit at
I had too
Howard.
many. I had too many. That's it's different. Bowie small.
Mm-hmm.
It's too many people in my room. I had too. It's too many people that was on campus. Like my friends was cool. So it was just it wasn't like random people in there. It's like Omar's in there one day, or Chris is in there one day, Sed's in there, Gino, Pete. You know what I'm saying? Football player. It was just a cool room. You know what I'm saying? Bruce is in there. We chief like it's a cool room. Like you're not coming in there disturbing the peace because niggas gonna be like, get out. Yo, get out,
Right,
B.
right,
You know what I'm saying? This is a
right, right,
chill
right.
room. You know what I'm saying? Like James is always chiefing. It's straight. You know what I'm saying? Let it be easy. But we went to bed one day, woke up. I woke up at like 5 in the morning. It may have been 7 in the morning. This Bama looks at us. He's still playing Age of Empires. Been playing it for like 7 hours.
Don't have
Straight.
no studying to do.
No.
Okay. Okay.
He looks at us. It says, oh shit, and runs out the room, Pete was like, Jay, you see that? I was like, this nigga Gino's wild. I was like, he stayed
Right.
up all night.
Like
But
what?
he stayed up all night playing
Didn't
the
even
video
realize it.
game. Nah.
Bro.
I had that type of room. It was cool. I was like, Gino. I
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
told him the next day, he was like, yeah, man, that joint. Same happened with the Sims. My other man Omar playing the Sims late. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Dude, I never got into The Sims,
uh,
but that was one of those games where it was just like so many people loved it. I feel like I didn't play video games as much like when I was younger. One,
mhm.
because my brother was a video game head and he wouldn't let any of us hold the stick. Damn, he was just so selfish. So I just was like, screw it, I'm about to read a book. But during the pandemic, I did pick up Animal Crossing and I used to play that game
Oh,
for hours and I didn't even know the time like all day long. So I can
yeah.
understand how Gino like was in it for that
Oh,
long
yeah. Easy.
because, you know,
You look up and be like, time playing for 4 hours.
but let me tell you this though, right? You mentioned like, you were yourself, kind of a nerdy
Mm-hmm.
kid. Can I tell
Mm-hmm.
you a pet peeve of mine?
What?
Going to college, what would kind of grind my gears
What?
would be dudes who try to reinvent themselves as like a hood dude or like they're
Oh, that
gangster.
got on my nerves,
And I
man.
said,
That got on my
sir,
nerves,
you apply to higher
man.
education because
Come
you care about
on.
your future and your grades. Dudes who are really about that life,
Yeah.
they're on the streets.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand? I
Well,
mean,
Gino went
while
there freshman year, but he
and I
he
knew he
only
would have
went.
excel, but
Yeah, he only went there because the judge gave him two options. So he went there for 1 year, but like I wholeheartedly used to
it
dislike that.
it disgusted me really because I grew up in an area that was a little bit rougher than most, so I knew how
Mm-hmm.
those dudes moved, who
Yeah,
were really
about
about
the
their life.
life. Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I left to kind of get away from that. Why are you trying
Yeah,
to you like perpetrate like you're this hard thug? Like nobody needs that right now.
yeah, hard thug and
You're
economics.
selling these little dime bags and zips and some bag. Nobody cares about that stuff. People are trying to make sure they're making it to class on time.
Yeah,
And I was in DC, so there were some real people out on them streets. Like
it
go
was.
holler at them.
Y'all
Walking
are
dudes used to try to walk,
yeah, they
from
get
the
robbed.
girls' dorm back to their dorm. You're getting robbed
You're gonna rob.
for everything you have on you.
Yep, it's right there. It's right there.
They was robbing girls too. Morgan got
Yeah.
robbed. I thank God I
Damn.
never got robbed in none of my years at Howard. They was robbing
Damn.
females and
They
males. They
don't
ain't give a
care,
shit.
yeah. They
They
don't
ain't
care.
care. Whatever you got, you out late by that Ho Chi, you getting robbed, boy.
You know what's so funny? So I it's a story that I had, and it's so funny, right? So we're all outside. It's late. You know how that is. You're outside, you're doing
Mm-hmm.
just
You just want
chilling.
to be out. You just doing,
Nighttime, want to
just
be out.
talking, bro. Like, fuck,
And
hanging out.
my man's cousin was from Berry Farms. They call it the farms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody used to ask, "You from DC?" I'm from New Carrollton, Maryland, man. I continuously say that. I always will.
Yeah,
From
because you're
New
not from
Carrollton,
DC.
Maryland. I'm not gonna lie about where I'm from.
Right, you're not from DC.
I'm not from DC. I'm not from any hood. I
And
grew
Berry
up in
Farms is so
Florida.
small.
It's so small, right? So I only knew about Berry Farms because I would go to the tournaments when my man's in them, right?
Yeah, and KD would be out there sometimes.
KD would be out there, Beasley would be out
Yep.
there.
Yep.
And then my man's cousin Ronnie, he used to live on where me and Faith eventually moved at. So he
They
would
had
live
some
on
really
that
good
side.
drinks out there and snow cones and shit. Bro, they had
Yeah,
the adult drinks out there, man. You trying to get
yeah,
fucked up, you get you a drink out there, boy. That shit used to be strong as
yeah,
hell.
yeah.
Damn.
So he lived on
Good
that side.
times.
So I mean, I never, I would go on that side, chill. You know what I'm saying? Smoke, right? But
Mm-hmm.
we was in everybody's outside. Dude, cousin comes, he's from the farms, and this other guy said he was from Berry Farms too. So he's outside. We all chilling. Everybody, where you from, James? Like, oh, I'm from PG County, New Carrollton. You know what I'm saying? Where's that at? The orange stop on the metro.
Ah,
They
just
like,
so you
oh,
know.
the last joint,
Right.
right?
Too
So
far.
yeah. So then he was going around asking, and I was like, "Hey, where, Vic? Did you say you from Berry Farms?" His cousin
Ah,
was like, "What's your family name?" That's how you know. Did they
they got
ask
you.
the
They got you.
family name?
Why you gotta lie like that though?
I
Why
don't
would you lie
know.
like that?
He
That doesn't
disappeared.
make sense.
Somebody brought something up. He disappeared.
He
And
disappeared.
he disappeared. He
Where did he
disappeared
go?
to his room. I just looked. Everybody was like,
Where'd he
she
go?
somebody said something, and then it got off subject, right?
Shit. And he said,
He
"That's
looked
my cue
around.
to exit before they
Oh
bring
man,
it back up."
my man Gino was like, "Where they go?" I was like, "I don't
Oh,
know."
yeah,
I
fuck,
was like,
man.
oh man.
No.
Oh,
Why you need to lie like that?
the next day, he was like, "Oh no, I just had to go take care of stuff." I was like, "Yeah, all right."
Okay. All
Uh,
right. All right.
you're
What'd you have
not.
to take care of? What do you have to take care of that was so
You're,
pressing all of a sudden when somebody asks you your
no,
heritage or your origin
you're
stories,
not
bro?
from. You're not
What
from
is your
there.
family's name?
Family
Hey man, let me call my homeboy. He was actually asking what your family name is. So can you tell me
name.
right now? Let's see you Houdini up out of here
What's
again, sir. Like what
your
the fuck?
family name? And I didn't even peep that until um I it registered. I didn't register till Faith told me one day. She was like, "Yeah, yeah. In Southeast, we go by the Carters. That's the family name." I was like,
Mm.
"Oh, that's why he asked what's your family name."
Mm-hmm.
Because all her cousins and her grandmother last name was Carter. So all of them were
It's very,
Carter.
but
So
it's
it's just
very
like,
close knit. Like
yeah,
you
it's just
go
like,
through,
what's
you
your
drive
family
through
name?
Berry Farms. It's so because I stayed in
It's
Southeast for a little
small.
minute off of Alabama
Yeah,
Avenue,
it's
so
small.
it's so small.
So you should know the family name. If
That's not nothing, and that's not nothing. If you're not from there, it's fine. Just you're
it's
not
just
from
don't
there.
say that.
What is that about? What is I
Say
don't understand why you gotta feel like you gotta claim a hood to no.
say
Just say where you are
say where you
and
are,
be
man.
true to yourself. Like be true
Because
to
you
your
know
heart.
what? The hood guys love it when you're true to your heart. They like it when who you are. Just people do in general, man. I don't understand why people fake, man. But that was a
Yeah,
funny story. He
weird.
disappeared. Oh, he disappeared. That's still
That's
funny. I tell the
hilarious.
story to this day. That was 20 years ago, 23
That's
years ago.
hilarious.
I'll never forget that. I just bring it up. Yeah, he disappeared. He got ghost. He was gone. Poof, gone. Everybody's like, "Where is he at?" I don't know, man. He see the next day, like,
Typical.
"Oh man, I had to, it's like, it's like I know who
Sir,
you are."
we're on to you, sir.
I
We are
know,
on to you, sir.
I know who you are, man. You just told everybody who you are without even saying without even saying nothing. Oh, that was a funny story. But yeah, I get that as a pet peeve because
It's a strong pet peeve.
gets you the point in your life, man. You should just be who you are. You go to
I've seen,
college, be who you are, man.
yeah, because what ends up happening, like your friend Vic, you get exposed.
Oh
I've seen
yeah.
dudes, and especially it was with, like, selling weed right on campus. And you're saying you're this square guy, you're trying to sell stuff, right?
Hmm.
And you don't know that there's other people out there who need it more than you,
Mm.
and you'll get robbed.
Yeah.
Seen this
Easy.
guy get in the back seat with our homeboy, and he had, asked him for some shit, and he brought
Oh,
it downstairs, and he said, "All right, thank you." And the dude was just like,
where's my money?
"Where's the money?" He said, "Thank you."
Golly, bro. As soon as he
He
said
said,
thank you, he should
"Thank
have just
you"
been blown.
again.
He
And
should
he
have
just
been
looked
blown.
bepuzzled. He said, "Bro, if you don't get this
If you
fucking up
don't
out
get
of this,
out of
if you
here,
don't get out of this
you don't
car,
get out of here, yeah.
it's
You're
it's
taking
gonna
a
be a
ride.
situation."
You're gonna
He
take a
just got
ride.
out of the car and left.
He's
I said,
blown.
"Damn."
He's
Anything,
blown.
even something like weed, that shouldn't even be that crazy if you're not, it gets crazy. Seen a guy get pistol whipped because he shorted my man's on the sit he was supposed to be short, tried to short him. He got
Mm.
pistol whipped and he got his car stolen because he was about that life.
See?
Because he
Why?
actually was. He was from Philly. He's
Right.
like, "I need the money because I'm in school. Like, you're out of control. I was selling before I got here, and I'm gonna continue to sell, but what you're not gonna do is cheat
Yeah.
me out." Me, I watch anime and I major in physics. I'm no parts in none of that.
I'm
Good luck to the people who actually do. But I
well,
know one
well,
thing, I'm not gonna be out here portraying something that I'm not.
nope. Nope. Because
There's no point.
it
There's
goes
no
down
point.
the you go down the wrong path and you find yourself in a situation
A bad one.
and you're like, how did I get here?
Very bad situations actually.
Bad. Like how
Mm. I
how
could
did
tell
I
you some
get here?
stories, JT, but we'll save that for another episode.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I will say this, right? So I was doing research. I'm just like, man,
Mm-hmm.
what is going on with this gap? And Forbes actually put out an article
Mm-hmm.
just stating how underfunded and how, like, cheated, like, some HBCUs were as far as
Mm.
getting like these quote unquote land grant schools.
Yeah.
And they got cheated out since the inception of that program, like in the late 80s. They were cheated out of like
Damn.
$12.8 billion that they were supposed to get and didn't get, right? In 2020, the white schools that had land grants, they got about what, 1.9 billion versus the 34 million that HBCUs that were also,
That's
supposed
crazy.
to get grants. And to put stuff into perspective, the article went on and said that, it's a state ran program, right? It's a state fund. So the
Mm-hmm.
state grants different schools. So they claimed, which makes sense, that white schools, they got more because they had the facilities, because it's a research, it's agricultural research. So they're going to give you
Yeah.
money to
College
do
Park has a big research agriculture joint.
you understand?
They got like a
And University of
side of things
Maryland
that
in
dedicated to it.
the Ocean yeah, what is it called? University of Maryland, what's that one location everybody goes to?
Eastern Shore.
Uh, Eastern Shore. Thank you, Eastern Shore. They
Mm-hmm.
actually are part of that, that program. But it's crazy because if you don't, and this is always like the chicken and the egg situation. Like, you need one, which one come first, and it's just like this perpetual cycle. So they need money so they can build better facilities to do research. They can't get more money until they have the better facilities to do the research.
Which is crazy.
What do you do? What do you do? So it is crazy. Another interesting thing that I researched was
Mm-hmm.
that since its inception, I guess, as far as HBCUs, they said
Yeah.
that for, like, HBCUs, put this in perspective, make up 4% of all universities out there, like all 4-year accredited like actual universities, not colleges, right? They have educated 80% of black judges that are out there,
Jeez.
50% of black lawyers and doctors, 25% of all of the black scientists,
Mm-hmm.
people who are in technology, like technology, engineering, and
Mm-hmm.
math, like graduates. So with that small percentage, we're doing so much. Okay, mind you, before we could go to PWIs, we could only go to HBCUs, but still put that into perspective as far as how much we're doing for the black community in general. We need
Wow.
more funding.
We need more funding.
So I was thinking like, okay, so there's a part where it's like the state side, right? You brought up how what are we doing with the money that we're getting? Like there needs to be transparency with that. The money that we are
Definitely.
getting, what
It
how is it
does.
being used? And lastly, we need to hold ourselves accountable. I didn't do the research, should have, but I
Yeah.
would believe that the alumni base for predominantly white universities and
Give a lot of
institutions
money.
give a lot more money
Yes.
um than black graduates, right? And
Yeah.
even the people who don't graduate, such as myself, who went there but get so fed up with their experience. They're like, man, fuck this. I ain't giving back to
Yeah.
y'all so y'all can da 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 da. So it's like we aren't setting ourselves up for success. We're
Mhm.
dealing with systemic racism
Yep.
on on a high level, coupled with the fact that we get charged more interest rates in general for the loans that we do take out. So borrowing money is even more expensive. And
Hmm.
it's so many factors I feel like that are coming into play, right? And we talk about, okay, what's the equalizer? It has to be sports, right?
Yeah. Has to be.
And even with the sports, there's that thing of you looking at LSU facility for football.
I hate to say it. Beyonce said Colorado Jordan's like that.
And so
Said Colorado is like that.
you can't call a black athlete a sellout if their goal is to play in the NFL, or this
Yeah.
school was offering them more money, or this is a better opportunity to get what they would deem as a better education in whatever
Yeah.
program that they're interested in, right?
Yeah.
What do you want them to do?
That's what
You
Shannon
have to
Collins
have the
said.
better facilities, right?
Yeah.
That's with anything. Boxers, they get
Mm-hmm.
the best nutritionist so they can
Mm-hmm.
perform their highest. They get the best recovery centers, and different equipments and techniques so that their bodies can recover, so they can train more, so they can get ahead of the other guy.
Yep.
Same thing with football. Like, what do you want these people to do?
Yeah. The facility.
It's hard. It's
Shannon
tough.
Crowder was like, man, I went to University of Florida. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you go to one of those schools with one of those top facilities. First of all, it's very, very difficult to make it to the NFL. Right? We're talking low percentage,
Yeah.
low
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
percentage.
Yeah, for
People are like,
sure.
oh, it's a draft every year, but it's like it's a lot of people, man.
It's too many.
You got people out here that's not trying to give up their spot. that
Straight up.
that
Straight up.
haven't even
Facts.
made no Pro Bowls or nothing, but are like it's an 8 year vet that starts.
Solid.
That's solid. You know what I'm saying? Like I know I'm not. You're not beating me out, rookie. You gotta like saying basketball is even
Competition is
harder. You know what I'm
crazy,
saying?
bro.
It's the
Competition is
percentage. It's
crazy.
crazy, right? So the percentage
Basketball's
to get
harder,
there,
less slots. Yeah, you're right.
basketball is difficult.
So
That
speaking of
shit
that,
is difficult,
how do you
yo.
feel about the HBCU combine, like that whole concept in general?
Um, it's okay. So I have an issue with the combine in general.
What's the
Um,
issue, JT? Please do share.
I just feel like it's a meeting for coaches to and GMs and owners to talk about trades.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think the combine can gauge an athlete. Colin Cowherd said the great thing, right? So I've stopped watching combine years ago because I'd rather look at what people saying what's on the tape because the tape doesn't lie. You
Right.
can for the combine, you're gonna be in the best shape of your life and you're gonna go through massive interviews. You're gonna do the 40 100 times a day.
Right.
Then you're gonna go to the combine and be excellent. How many people we've seen at the combine excel and then are trash?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then people be like, well, the tape says, you know what I'm saying? So it's just
Right.
like, to be honest, we don't really need the combine, but the NFL is never going to get rid of it. Now, the HBCU combine, I think we do need it because it highlights, you know, first of all, the GMs that go there and the coaches that go there specifically want these kids. And it gives them an opportunity to actually shine in front of coaches And then now the coach might say, you know what? Let me go watch his tape. So I think the HBCU combine is the opposite of the actual
Hmm.
NFL combine. I just because I feel like
Okay.
all those colleges, Florida, Florida State, they get enough. Y'all get enough tape. Y'all on national TV every Saturday.
I get enough to. I feel
Yeah,
you.
so, you know what I'm saying? HBCUs, they're not on TV every Saturday. You might get a
Right.
classic, the Southern Classic. You might get a championship, but they're not on. They're not on TV every Saturday
Do
on
you
the Big
think
Ten
it'll?
Network.
Right. Do you think that it will ever get to the point where HBCUs get to that level where they I don't know if they transition out of the divisions that they're in, or the divisions become that good where they're competing with second, all the other, really well known D1 divisions in college, to the point where there wouldn't need to be that separation of, oh, here's the NFL combine, here's the HBCU
Yeah,
combine. You get what I'm saying? Because I
yeah,
think some people take exception to the separation because one
yeah,
would be deemed as inferior. Like, I'm not good
yes,
enough to make it to the just standard NFL combine. I have to have the one for the black kids.
yeah.
I know
Unfortunately,
students, a lot of the athletes who are participating. I get them and tell you like, shit, I just need a shot.
I need a
I
shot.
need somebody to see me. I'm a beast.
Yes,
Y'all
I
didn't
need a
have I didn't
shot.
have, my shine, and you've
Yes,
seen some success with that. I mean, the numbers are staggering. They
yeah,
said since 2019, out of the total 672 draft picks, only 5 were from HBCUs.
yep. Five.
Yeah. And 4 of those were drafted in 2022.
21, 21,
No,
22. Yeah,
21. None were drafted in
nothing. It was
21.
22.
There
Yeah, I was
were
about
there were
to say.
4 free agents that finally got
Mm.
signed. They signed 4 free agents,
So it was
but none were
22.
drafted in 2021.
Because I think
2022.
Jackson
Yeah.
State, I think
Mhm.
the D
Mhm.
tackle from Jackson State.
Yeah.
I know the corner, Kobe. Hold on, wait, Durant, Kobe Durant. He's
Excuse me.
from
Whew. Pardon.
South Carolina State because he was on the pivot.
Mm. I love that show.
Yeah, yeah, he was on the pivot or that arm athlete. I don't know one of them, but he would say he went to a HBCU. I think he was on the pivot because Shannon Crowder was talking to him. I think so. I can't remember if it was before they broke up. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. But he was on one of those major platforms because the Rams were talking about 3 rookies,
And then,
and
I mean, yeah.
it's big. It's big. The HBC, and I feel
Yeah.
like
Cuz you're going to have those
fact check.
anomalies like Bell, right? Who made it to the Dallas
Yeah.
Cowboys, who actually got invited to the standard NFL combine, but more often not. Like, more often
Mm-hmm.
you got to, I feel like you have to be this one in a lifetime type of generational talent if you're coming from an HBCU. Like, you have to be better than your counterparts to even be considered. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because you're
Yes.
already working at a disadvantage. You don't have the facilities. Like, imagine if you had the resources, how much better you probably could have been, you know? I don't know. But
It could have been a lot better. I'm trying to think. Did Dion have a hand in this?
in what?
I feel like he did. Hold on, give me one second.
I need some
Yeah,
water.
I think Dion had a hand in it, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you gotta like it's gotta get shine, man. Um, so I understand what people say. Why do we have to be the lesser? I get it, but sometimes we gotta take advantage of these
You got to start.
opportunities,
Yeah, you got to start
especially these
somewhere.
kids that's trying to get into the NFL. It's regular people that go to PWIs that don't even get invited to the combine. That's how
Right.
that's how that's how
Crazy.
vicious the competition is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So if they get to see you at the HBCU combine, it's like, well,
I'll take it.
I'll take it. We'll sign you on as a free agent, or we'll draft you in the 7th round. That's
Right.
huge. That's
That and the
huge.
legacy bowl, that's another opportunity for them
Yep.
to shine, you know what I'm saying? Like, I
Hmm.
get it. I definitely get it. So I do think that there are strides that are being made. It might not be the ultimate goal, but I feel like it is
Yeah.
a step in the right direction. And hate it or love him, I think Deion Sanders definitely, played a very pivotal role in that. Like he was a
Mm-hmm.
celebrity. Okay, he didn't stay there for as long as people would have liked, or as long as he first, stated that he would, right? But I think he put a lot of momentum, a lot of energy, and a lot of publicity out to HBCUs. You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
we just have to appreciate the good that him coaching at Jackson State did, as far as putting us that next step forward to where HBCUs ultimately want to be.
And you know what he said, which is it's a great thing. He was like, "Do you know all the endorsement deals they got were multi-year deals?" So he left them in a better position than they were in. All
Right,
those deals that they signed when he was there, it wasn't just because he's there. He signed them to like American Airlines multi-year deals, like
right, because he
multi-year
understands
deals.
the game. You understand?
Yeah.
Like those kids are
Uh,
better off, and that's more than a lot of people do that went to HBCUs and who have the opportunity to give back every year, but don't. Obviously, you're not in Deion Sanders' position because you're not, a famous ex-athlete. That's
mm-hmm.
that's nobody's fault. You should have been famous or
Yeah.
rich, and then put your
That's
HBCU
what
on, but
it
you
is.
didn't do that. So, like, it is
Yeah.
like you said, it is what it is. So you just
It
gotta
is
you
what
gotta
it is,
stop
man.
over criticizing people who have done more than what you've done since you've graduated or
Mm-hmm.
were at HBCU. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's my take on it. But I think I think it's all steps in the right direction ultimately. HBCUs have their flaws, but they also have, I think, the advantages that are very crucial to our development as Black people at an age, like you said,
Yeah.
that's very influential, like very important in our lives, and that
Mm-hmm.
shit shapes the rest of,
Mm-hmm.
like, the Black community, like, that we are a part of the
Yep.
Black community, right? And I felt
Yes.
like I had a duty when I was in college. I'm like, man, I have a
Mm-hmm.
duty. I gotta just do better for my community. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you
Yes.
have that sense of, like, not everybody can go to HBCU. Now you know our history. Now you know what we're dealing with and why we are this
Mm-hmm.
way. You know what I'm saying? Cause and effect. So what can I
Yep.
do to help not just the community that my campus is at, because I was at
Mm-hmm.
Howard. So I
Yeah.
did work at Howard Middle School to help the little Black kids there.
Yeah.
Try to
I did
help
a,
them,
I did a
but then
lot
helping
of
people back
acronyms
home in
for that.
Houston, shit,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a
it
it's a
makes you really
lot
think.
of
You got to
it's a
give
lot
back.
of you gotta get back. And to be honest, I started giving back more when I joined my fraternity because that's what it's all about.
Mm,
Right? I don't think people be like understanding like, oh man, they be partying hard. It's like, no, it's a lot of work, man. It's like you
right.
don't see the meetings I have to go to. I have to go to national meetings. I have to go meetings on campus to meet with other fraternities to make sure like our weeks don't coincide. Like, okay, since your founder's day was on this week, we got to do it this week. Oh, Spring Fest is this week. We got to push it back to
Mhm.
this week. It's a
Mhm.
lot of conversations that go on. You know what I'm saying? Themes for the step show,
Right.
right? You're in that meeting. Then you gotta go to your local fraternity meeting because you gotta be, um, you got if you don't go to these meetings, you get suspended. So you gotta go to these meetings to be active on campus, and you gotta go to the campus meetings to be active on campus, and you gotta go to the national meetings. So people are, oh man, James party. It's like no, and I had school and I had work, so it's like
So let me ask you
you
this,
know.
right? Because there was always this debate
Mm-hmm.
of or controversy, shall I say, of sororities and fraternities being
Mm-hmm.
viewed as collegiate gangs, essentially.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that talk? How do you feel about that as somebody who actually joined a collegiate gang? I'm sorry. Um, as a cute dog, I'm playing, like, but no, seriously, what
No, no,
what
no,
what
yeah.
are your feelings about that? I'm getting a little off topic, but
It's
I
all
do want to
good.
know.
Uh I I look at the history, right? And I don't view it as a gangs. It's a lot of prominent black um organizers, inventors, and leaders in their community that have been a part of not everyone, but I'm saying some have been a part of fraternities and sororities.
So do you
You know what I'm
think there's
saying?
no
Like
divide
historical
from
black.
for fraternities? Like there's no like, oh, our fraternity is better than yours. There's no
I
like contempt or
listen.
arrogance. Like, ugh, why would you be an alpha? Or, ugh, why would you be a kappa? Like, why would you do that? Like, them niggas better not do nothing. Oh, because I jump. Like, you
Uh,
never. That's never happened.
No,
That's never
no.
happened.
So some of my frat brothers are like that, right? And I
Mm,
talk trash sometimes. Friendly competition, like the best colors are purple and gold. I do that, but I'm the type of person that I've had this happen to me. Oh man, think I should join this and that. Listen, my advice is this: join whatever fraternity that you see yourself a part of, and don't quit. So if you wanna, I gave a young man advice. He was like, "Yo, should I be Cap or Q?" And I was like, "Yo, just don't join it because
right.
certain people are in it. You like, you gotta because you're gonna regret it." I was
Right.
like, "Go with one that you love. It's about you as an individual. Which fraternity or sorority fits you?" And then
Mm.
he ended up doing Cap, and we still cool as day.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't, I'm a healthy competition guy. I talk trash, but I'm mostly I'm cool with everybody, man. You know, I'm cool with
Okay.
people that do make it, people that don't. I'm just chilling. Just wasn't for you. That's
How do
it.
you how did you feel when you finally like the process is over and you quote unquote came out? Do you remember that day? Do you replay that day
Yeah,
back in your mind?
yeah,
Was
yeah.
it a treacherous what do they call that period? I like this all the concepts are escaping my mind like I didn't even go to school. Like when you were
Treacherous.
pledging. Yeah, was it a
Oh, it
treacherous
was
pledging?
it, it was it was it was brutal because I had a full time job. So
Mm.
my okay. Here's the funny thing about
How did you do that?
and full time school. I didn't sleep.
Okay.
I didn't sleep a lot.
That makes
Um,
sense.
uh, man, one day, I was man. I have so many stories. This is crazy. Um, so I was one of those guys. My freshman year and sophomore year, I was just hanging out.
Mhm.
I was one of those guys you will always see on the yard. Like, does this nigga go to class? And I'll be barely
Oh, you
skating
one of
by.
them.
Yeah, for the first 2 years, and
Oh,
then
wow. Hmm.
my dad was like, "You should try to join." And I was like, I'm gonna see what these guys are about. Whatever, man. I'm just gonna see what they about." And then I was like, "They cool, man." So I was like, let me see. You know what I'm saying? Let me go to a meeting or something. I went to a meeting, and it was awkward because I wasn't supposed to be at the meeting because I missed the initial meeting, but I found out
Oh, shit.
I got in there and I was late.
Fuck.
I was late
Why?
because I was like, I was nervous.
Yeah, that's normal.
And I walked in late, and I sat in the back of the class, and they're like, "Who is this?" I was like, "What's up?" If somebody would do that, I don't know. If I was in charge of it, I was like, "Who
Fuck
are
out of
you,
here.
man?" Nah, he was like, my friend Larry. I was over his house the other day. He was like, "Hey, come here, man. Tell us about yourself." And I just said it, and then I found out the GPA, the cumulative GPA, was a 2.5. And then I gotta get it. I got a 2.3. So I just started going to class,
Damn.
started studying, and then they push it to a 2.75. I was like, I gotta get it, yo. So I just started
Damn.
I started grinding and going to class and going to class and
Had
going to
to.
class. And then my grades went up. And then because I couldn't I had to work full time because I couldn't live on campus anymore because of
Mhm.
it was my fault. I would still do it all over again. That was probably one of the greatest summers I've ever had in my life. Uh, but I filled out my financial aid too late, and they were like, "You can't be on campus. You're supposed to fill this out in March."
Yeah, that's. I
Yeah,
mean, it happens.
it happens, right?
I didn't live on campus after my freshman year because there,
Yeah,
one of the issues with HBCU at Howard, there's a housing issue. They didn't have enough
yeah.
housing, and
Housing.
I'm just like, okay. So I ended up staying at the towers over there. You know what I'm talking about?
Hmm.
Over there in PG, over there across the street from PG Plaza Mall. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I stayed there, and
We
that
could have
shit
been over
was
there in a minute.
everything. Because I feel
Yeah,
like that was like the first year that they opened,
yeah. It was
complete
right by the
mayhem.
metro.
Right, but it
Uh-huh.
was complete. Anyways, so yeah,
Yeah,
so I get it. Don't it gets crazier when you off campus whole time. You don't even
yeah,
realize like, oh wow, this is what living off campus is like.
yeah. Okay, off campus is a little wild.
It
A
gets
little,
wild.
little, it gets wild off campus. It's not.
So I
There's
will say,
no boundaries.
I will say I'm not gonna say the sorority that I was thinking about.
Hmm.
Um, I went there. They wanted me because my GPA
Hmm.
was so high and I was a physics major. They're like,
Yeah,
"What major are you?" I was like, "Oh, physics. What's your GPA?" I was like, it was a 3.8 at the time. They're like,
that's
oh,
nice.
come over here. That's good, right?"
Yeah,
Which I didn't know that they cared about, GPAs
they
and stuff
do.
like that.
Matters.
Right, because that's what made me click when you were talking about your GPA. I was like, "Oh shit, well maybe that's what it is." I ended up not going through with the process just because I don't know. I didn't like I think for women who pledge, and this may not be for every
It's a lot.
sorority or for every campus. I know people do stuff different ways, but when I was there, they were like making this girl cry in the corner, like bullying her, talking, "Yo, you think you're pretty," and that just like just being mean. I'm just like,
Mm, mm.
that's not necessary. And I was like, I don't like that. I don't I don't like that. Like me, I grew up with boys, so I'm like, I'd rather you put me through something physically grueling
Yeah,
or
it was
anything like
physically
that.
grueling for me. Yeah,
Like
it was kind
me,
of like
I
Marines.
don't care
Like
if you yell at me, like,
yeah,
hurry up and get the fuck off the floor. What are you doing? Da,
yeah,
da, da, da."
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't mind that, but
yeah,
to be
yeah.
like trying to make somebody cry in a corner and like bullying
Nah,
up on
nah,
them,
nah,
that
nah.
wasn't cool to me. And I was just like,
Nah, we
this
weren't like that. It's like
doesn't.
the Marines. Like that's how it was. Like the Marines. Like
Mm-hmm.
hurry up, push ups, get up.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah,
doing it right. Faster, faster,
yeah.
faster. What are you doing? I told you to go here. You didn't learn this. That's how it was
Mm-hmm.
constantly.
But I think for women it's more mental, for men it's more physical as far
Yeah,
as like what they're gonna put you through. So,
yep.
you know.
It's grueling. I've seen people like because it's funny. Like you look at people when they cross, and people probably looked at me because um the prototypical Q might have be football players, right? So three guys before me,
Mm-hmm.
I love them to death. They're football players. They're big guys,
Big
and then
dudes.
I come
Big
out
dudes.
big dudes, and then I come out. They're like, "Oh, James can make
This
it. I
tiny
can."
motherfucker.
Okay, okay. You'll see. You'll see after the first second week. You like, yo, James, it's just isn't for me, man. I know it's okay. You still
Right.
cool. But
Right.
like, don't look at the size and be like, "Oh man, James." Yeah, okay. Try. I always be
Okay.
like, "Try,
Okay.
okay, try,
That's all you can say. Try. Try
try,
if you dare. Try if you might.
try." You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that was a good experience, man.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I got, man. Do you have anything else to
Yeah,
add?
no, man. I definitely did love this. This is awesome, guys.